on. अब हम लोग जो हैं वो now we will study the how the pelvis is attached to the lower limbs. So initially we draw this diagram. This is the body of the sacrum and this is the sacrum. Here you have the iliac crest. Then you have the anterior supiliac spine, anti-infiliac spine, pectineal eminence, notch for artery, vein and nerve, pubic tubercle, pubic crest, pubic symphysis, ischiopubic ramus, and you have the obturator foramen here, and you have the greater sciatic notch and lesser sciatic notch here. Similarly, we make the opposite side, the anterior supiliac spine, the anti-infiliac spine, the pectineal eminence, the notch for artery, vein and nerve, the pubic tubercle, the pubic symphysis, and we make the pelvis of this side. And here you will have the vertebral column, and on the top of the vertebral column here you will have the ribs, and from the anterior supiliac spine to the pubic tubercle you will have the inguinal ligament. Here will be the acetabulum, and here will be the head of the femur, here will be the neck, here will be the trochanter, the greater trochanter, and here will be the lesser trochanter. So arising from the vertebral column and going up to the lesser tuberosity is a muscle which we would call as psoas major, lesser trochanter. So it's gone to the lesser trochanter, and of course we'll make this ligament a little bit thick so that you understand that the muscle is going under it. Now this psoas is held by iliacus from the side, and you have from the posterior one third from inside you have quadratus lumborum. Then you have the thoracolumbar fascia, and from this you have the three muscles, the transversus abdominis, internal oblique and external oblique, and this is the lumbar triangle of Petit. So these muscles form the abdominal wall right up to the anterior superior iliac spine. Now this notch up to the pubic tubercle has got a lacunar ligament here. Then you have the lymph node of Flocquet. Then you have the vein coming out of it. Then you have the artery, and laterally you have the nerve. So this is one of the diagrams that you must understand. From here, from the pectineal eminence, again getting inserted to the femur is the pectineus muscle. Then from the anterior infiliac spine you have this Y-shaped ligament of Bigelow, inverted Y-shaped ligament of Bigelow, and you have the straight head of rectus femoris. The other head of the rectus femoris comes from above the acetabulum. Then you have the last thing to emerge out of this gap between the inguinal ligament and the bone. You have the lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh, which may sometimes pierce the inguinal ligament and cause meralgia paresthetica. Finally, you have the anterior supiliac spine, from which you have the sartorius muscle, and this sartorius muscle comes like this and gets inserted into the medial surface of the tibia. Okay, so we have covered from whatever is passing between the inguinal ligament and the bone on the anterior border of the tibia in this diagram, and we have also shown you how The ilium is suspended by the quadratus lumborum, by the thoracolumbar fascia, and the three abdominal muscles. Three abdominal muscles, which is transversus abdominis, internal oblique, and external oblique. And how over the quadratus lumborum there arises the psoas major, and how psoas major is helped by iliacus before it goes and gets inserted onto the lesser trochanter. So after this, let us try to attach the hip, the femur, to the pelvis. Now we are studying the outer surface of the ilium. So this is the posterior sphenic spine, this is the anterior sphenic spine. Here is the posterior inferior spine, here is the greater sciatic notch, the ischial spine, the ischial tuberosity, and the ischiopubic ramus. Here you have the anterior superior spine, the anterior inferior spine, the pectineal eminence, and then you have the notch for the artery, vein, and nerve, the pubic tubercle, the pubic crest, the pubic symphysis. And this is the ischiopubic ramus. And you have two important things on this. The first is a notch-shaped cavity or the socket in which the head of the femur will fit. Now this is the acetabulum. It has an articular surface surrounding it and a non-articular surface in between. Then it has got a transverse acetabular ligament here. And there is a space through which here is the obturator foramen, and here is the obturator artery coming out from this, and here you have the artery of ligamentum teres, which arises from the obturator artery, goes under in this notch, the acetabular notch, under the transverse acetabular ligament, and from this ligament on both sides and the notch arises the ligamentum teres, and this artery goes and is lying somewhere on top of the ligamentum teres. So if you see it on the side, this is the head of the femur, this is the neck, this is the trochanter, greater and lesser trochanter. Here is the acetabulum, and the lower part of the acetabulum you find that there is a transverse acetabular ligament, and this is ligamentum teres, and the artery comes like this and goes into and supplies 3% of the head of the femur. The rest of the femur is supplied by the femoral artery, gives the profunda femoris, and this profunda femoris encircles the upper part of the subtrochanteric area, upper part of femur, by the posterior circumflex humeral and anterior circumflex humeral, and they embrace the base of the neck by the ascending branches of the lateral circumflex humeral and ascending branches of the medial circumflex humeral. Alright. So this arterial arcade which forms at the base of the neck gives anterior retinacular vessels and posterior retinacular vessels which are extraosseous. Therefore they are able to cross the growth plate and supply the rest of the head of the femur. But since they are extra osseous, they are surrounded by the synovium like this, and this forms a retinaculum. Synovium plus blood vessel is a retinaculum. So you have anterior retinacular vessels and posterior retinacular vessels. So if this is the neck of femur, here are the vessels, Here is the synovium forming the retinaculum. This is also called as ligament of Wietbrecht. So here is the marrow of the neck. And outside you will have the synovial membrane which lines the capsule of the hip joint. So if supposing the pressure increases in the synovium here, it is going to press on the retinacular vessels and the blood flow will stop in the retinacular vessels and the head will become avascular. This is called as the tamponade effect, and this tamponade effect is the pathogenesis of Perthes disease, where the head becomes avascular in children between 2 to 5 years of age, and then it becomes sclerosed, it becomes fragmented, and it becomes flattened, and it extrudes out of the acetabulum. So this is the blood supply of the head, and this is how this is the basic diagram by which you can understand about the acetabulum. Now the acetabulum transmits. There is the auricular process of sacrum here on the inside of the bone, and the sacrum would be somewhere here like this, and this will be the sacrotuberous ligament, this will be the sacrospinous ligament. Here is the greater sciatic and the lesser sciatic notch, and from this surface of the sacrum, spine vertebral weight, body weight is coming like this, and then it is going into a single column. Now this will go into the ischial tuberosity, one column will go into the ischial tuberosity, and the second will go forwards. So it's a A-shaped structure connected in between by the acetabulum. So there's an anterior column of the pelvis and there's a posterior column, and you can have a posterior column fracture, you can have an anterior column fracture, and you can have both columns fracture. So these are the basic types of acetabular fractures, and the third type of fracture you can have is when this head breaks the medial wall of the acetabulum and goes inside. So this is the central fracture dislocation of the hip. Now we will move on to see. We have seen what is inside the hip. So now we will move on to see if this is the acetabulum, and here you have the obturator foramen, here is the ischiopubic ramus and the pubic symphysis, the pubic crest, the pubic tubercle, like this. Here you have the head, the neck and the trochanter, like this. Then from the anterior boundary, here is the pectineal eminence. You have this psoas muscle, and here is the acetabular labrum, innermost acetabular labrum, here the transverse acetabular ligament, and here is the ligamentum teres. So then a capsule attaches the margins of the acetabulum to the intertrochanteric line. Intertrochanteric line in front and leaving the lateral 1/3 of the neck on the posterior surface. So the anterior surface of the neck is fully intracapsular, but the outer third of the posterior surface of the neck is extracapsular. Now this capsule will have three types of ligaments. One coming from the pubis, it is pubofemoral. Then there is a ligament which is ischiofemoral, and the third coming from the anterophiliac spine, which I told you is iliofemoral. So this capsule is strengthened by ischiofemoral, iliofemoral, which is the Y-shaped ligament of Bigelow, and pubofemoral ligaments. And I have told you before that anteriorly it is attached to the intertrochanteric line, so the whole of the anterior surface of the neck is intracapsular, but the capsular attachment leaves the outer 1/3 of the posterior surface of the neck as extracapsular. Okay? So now we have covered the capsule of the hip, and then we will cover the muscles. So, the muscles are abductors. Okay? All the abductors arise from the ilium and are attached to the trochanter. And they are glutei, gluteus, medius, pure abductor, gluteus minimus, which is a flexor abductor, and gluteus maximus, which is behind, which is a extensor, basically an extensor. So these are the glutei muscles which are on this outside. Then you have on the femur a spiral line, which intertrochanteric line goes behind and becomes the spiral line. There is a subtrochanteric line which goes behind and becomes the spiral line, and both form linea aspera. So from this linea aspera is the lateral intermuscular septum. From the medial part of medial lip, there is the medial intermuscular septum, which is behind the femur. Now from the iliac tuberosity arises the tensor fasciae lata, and this tensor fasciae lata converts into an iliotibial band which goes and gets inserted into the head of the fibula, and this band is connected by, the iliotibial band is connected to the linea aspera by the lateral intermuscular septum. So this finishes the gluteus medius, the tensor fasciae lata. The anterior part of the ilium attaches to the anterior part of the trochanter, and you have the gluteus minimus, which abduct but also flex. So we have covered abductors of the hip. Now we cover adductors. The adductors of the hip are 3 small ones and 3 large ones. The small ones are in front you have pectineus. So small one is pectineus, it is an adductor of the hip, and behind you have quadratus femoris, and in between you have obturator externus. So we'll make the obturator externus. This is the membrane, obturator membrane. It arises from the obturator crest, and it passes under the neck of the femur, winds round it, and gets attached to the trochanteric fossa on the greater trochanter. So this is the obturator externus muscle. Anteriorly it is covered by the pectineus, and posteriorly it has the quadratus femoris, which is arising from the ischial tuberosity and getting inserted into the posterior surface of the trochanter. We will look at these are the 3 adductors, which are the small and superior adductors. Then the 3 large ones are adductor magnus, brevis in front of it, and longus, the frontmost. And finally there is an adductor which goes and gets attached to the tibia instead of femur, and that adductor is gracilis. So there are 7 adductors. The small ones are the obturator externus sandwiched between the pectineus and quadratus femoris, and the large ones are the adductor longus, brevis and magnus, arising from the outer surface of the ischial tuberosity and the ischiopubic ramus and getting inserted onto the linea aspera, medial lip of the linea aspera. And then there is the gracilis muscle which arises from the pubic symphysis and goes and gets inserted on the inferior surface, on the medial surface of the tibia. So these are the adductors. Gluteus medius, minimus maximus, outer surface supported by tensor fascia lata from the iliac tuberosity. And the 3 small adductors are pectineus sandwiched between obturator externus sandwiched between pectineus anteriorly and quadratus femoris behind. And then you have the adductor magnus, brevis and longus attached to the linea aspera. So this is the basic muscles that attach the hip. The muscles that surround the neck, the obturator externus on this side, inferior border, on this side the pectineus, on this side the quadratus femoris, and the 3 muscles corresponding to this is adductor longus, the adductor brevis and the adductor magnus. So this forms the adductor group, and on top of on the superior border is basically gluteus medius, which is abductor. So this is the neck, okay, abductor, and supported by the tensor fascia lata and the iliotibial band. Now we go on to see the pelvis from behind. So this is the iliac crest, the posterior suprailiac spine, the posterior inferior spine, the greater sciatic notch, the ischial tuberosity, and here you have the anterior suprailiac spine, the anterior inferior spine, the acetabulum. This is what you see. Now here is the sacrum, here is the sacrotuberous ligament, and here you have the sacrospinous ligament converting these notches into the foramen. Now here we place the head of the femur, the neck of the femur, posterior view, and this is the trochanter, greater trochanter, this is the lesser trochanter. The spiral lines have come from the anterior surface like this, and they have formed the linea aspera. We have understood that there is acetabular labrum here, there is a transverse acetabular ligament, and there will be a ligamentum teres which will be supplying the head of the femur in this direction. Now we have attached the capsule, which we have told you will leave the outer 1/3 of the neck extracapsular. Now we have said that there is a muscle which is like this, which abducts the trochanter, and this is gluteus medius. Then we say that there is a iliac tuberosity. From iliac tuberosity arises the tensor fascia lata, which forms the iliotibial band, and this iliotibial band is attached to the lateral lip of linea aspera by the lateral intermuscular septum. Now we say that there is a muscle which has arisen from the obturator foramen on that side. It has winded round the neck and is attached to the trochanteric fossa. This muscle is obturator externus. And we said that this obturator externus is anterior to it, it is sandwiched between pectineus in front and quadratus femoris behind. So here you have the quadratus femoris. Then we say that from the this ischial tuberosity is divided into a quadrangular upper portion and a triangular lower portion. The triangular lower portion is divided into an outer half and an inner half. From the outer half arises the adductor magnus, which goes and gets inserted into the medial lip of linea aspera right up to the adductor tubercle. Right up to the adductor tubercle. Then anterior to this adductor magnus will be adductor brevis, then adductor longus. Now the medial part of the triangular portion has what we told you before, the Alcock's canal. The quadrangular portion of the ischial tuberosity is divided into an upper lateral and a lower medial portion. The upper lateral gives rise to biceps femoris, and the lower medial gives rise to two muscles. One is semimembranosus and the other is semitendinosus. So these are the hamstring muscles that arise here. Then I told you that out of the arising from the anterior surface of the sacrum, coming out of the greater sciatic foramen, and getting attached to the tip of the trochanter is the piriformis. Coming out of the lesser sciatic foramen and getting inserted into the trochanter is obturator internus. Now this obturator internus is held by a superior gemellus above and an inferior gemellus below. So this forms a triflagellate tendon between two muscles. So this is obturator internus. So from top to bottom you have gluteus medius, you have piriformis, you have superior gemellus, you have obturator internus, you have inferior gemellus, you have quadratus femoris. I told you that from the greater sciatic notch arise the piriformis, comes out the piriformis, and above the piriformis you have the superior gluteal artery vein and nerve. Below it you have the inferior gluteal artery vein and nerve. Then you have three nerves which are sciatic, posterior cutaneous nerve of thigh, and nerve 2 quadratus femoris. So arising out of this you have these three nerves, and then you have the pin structures which arise out of the greater sciatic notch and re-enter through the lesser sciatic notch and finally go into the Alcock's canal. So these are the structures that pass out of the greater sciatic notch, and these are the structures that pass through the lesser sciatic notch, and I think we have covered the posterior view. Now I'll tell you, we'll draw it again and tell you that all this is covered by the gluteus maximus muscle. So we'll draw it again. The posterior suprailiac spine, the posterior inferior spine, the greater sciatic notch, the ischial spine, the ischial tuberosity, and on this we have the acetabulum like this. Okay. Now here is the sacrum. Here is the sacrotuberous ligament. Here is the sacrospinous ligament. Here is the head of the femur, the neck of the femur, the greater trochanter, the lesser trochanter, and this portion here, and then right from the sacrotuberous ligament to here, and attached on the gluteal tuberosity here is a huge muscle which is gluteus maximus. And from this gluteus, under the gluteus maximus, you see the gluteus medius, then anterior to it the gluteus minimus, and from the iliac tuberosity you see the tensor fascia lata, which goes laterally and is attached to the lateral intermuscular septum. Here you have the medial intermuscular septum. So this muscle arising from the outer surface of the ilium and then the sacrotuberous ligament right up to the ischial tuberosity is the gluteus maximus. So to summarize, the muscles that emerge from under the inguinal ligament are the psoas major and iliacus, and then to some extent pectineus. So they are coming basically from the spine or the ilium and getting inserted onto the femur. Then you have muscles anteriorly which are sartorius. So from lateral to medial you have the sartorius, you have the iliacus, then you have the psoas, and finally you have the pectineus. All these form the boundaries of the femoral triangle. Adductor longus on this side, sartorius on the lateral side, inguinal ligament above, and here you have the iliacus, then you have the psoas, then you have the psoas, and then you have the artery, vein and nerve, artery and vein, the lymph node of Clockway and the inguinal ligament like this. So these are the structures on the anterior border of the pelvis, between the pelvis and the inguinal ligament. Okay, on this side you will have the abductors, and the main abductor is gluteus medius, held by tensor fascia lata. Then you have the adductors, and adductors we told you are three superior or small ones, which is obturator externus sandwiched between pectineus anteriorly and quadratus femoris posteriorly. Then parallel to these three muscles on the top are the three adductors, the magnus, largest, then brevis, and then longus. All right. After this, we need to study a diagram in which we will cut the section of the thigh and see that if this is the shaft of the femur, these are the two lips, this is the marrow, these two lips have a medial and lateral intermuscular septum, and these septum divide the femur, this is the medial side, this is the lateral side, into an adductor space, into a flexor or the extensor of the knee and flexor of the hip space, and into the extensor of the hip and flexor of the knee space, because these muscles are going to get inserted into the tibia. They flex the knee, and so this is it. So here we'll make a muscle which is called as vastus medialis, and here you have the adductor longus, brevis and magnus, and on this side you have the gracilis. So there is a membrane which is called as the vasoadductor membrane, and there is a canal here which forms the subsartorial canal, and above this subsartorial canal you have a muscle which is the sartorius. and through this subsartorial canal passes the artery, vein and nerve going into the lower limb. On the extensor side, on the medial side, you have the semimembranosus and semitendinosus, and on the lateral side you have the long and the short head of biceps femoris. The short head is attached to the lateral lip of linea aspera. On this side you will have the sciatic nerve. So this section of the thigh should also be remembered.